Welcome to CarCast. I'm Matt, the moderator, DeAndrea, and I'm here with Rob O'Connell. Rob is Adam's shop foreman, and Adam is out doing Road Hard, so check out updates for that at roadhardmovie.com. So we thought we might do a special CarCast for you today. We're going to take a tour of the new Carolla race shop, and hopefully we'll get to most of it. I'm not sure we're going to get to the museum today, but Rob's going to take us on a little tour of what we got going on here in the shop. Rob, how's it going?
How's it going? It's going good. Glad to be on the show.
So tell us a little bit about what you actually do.
What I actually do, I do a lot of things.
He's sort of a jack of all trades, so he
I work
works
on
on
Adam's
pretty much
cars. I kind of help Adam's everyday operation run smoothly and efficiently. We have anything from cars to construction to you name it, a little bit of Mangria in there. But other than that, I try to make Adam's everyday life go smoothly.
Good. So this building that we're in now, there's a showroom that's next door as well. I know you've done a lot of work on the building itself, right? You guys
Correct.
built out the bathroom there, and you're putting in skylights. How many holes have you drilled in?
50.
So let's go ahead and let's start
Okay.
over here, back in this corner. This is kind of a crazy thing. You know, you've seen a lot of the cars that we've had on the show, the 610, the 510s, the big Newman car, the 88 Planners car. But what you don't know is when these cars get purchased, they oftentimes come with tons of backup parts, which is great because there's a lot of rubbing.
Correct.
A lot of rubbing and
You know,
in
you're
racing.
not going to find these, when you get these cars, what I've learned, you can't find parts very easily. And the good thing about getting these cars is that it comes with a lot of extra stuff, extra motors, extra body parts. And it actually does save a lot of money, but it takes up a lot of space. And you're always constantly trying to find what to do with them and how to preserve them.
So here we've got, I see a number of fenders, some quarter panels, some fender flares.
Yep.
I don't know if there's doors up there, but there's doors here.
They're basically doors and front fenders and rear fenders here. I tried to.
It's for the 88 car.
Correct.
And these are actually all original pieces. These
original.
are part of the team that Newman raced, Bob Sharp raced, Bobby Allison, any of the cars that Adam has. This is a tool. This is where you would lay up for one of the other pieces, so you can actually make more.
The mold. Yeah, we actually get a lot of the molds with the cars too. So if we did ever ruin them, we're able to.
which is kind of cool. So you can either swap out the body pieces, or if you want to keep these because they are still original pieces, even though they're backup pieces, we can actually make more
of them.
Yep. And the 610 that you guys know that we just raced recently a few weeks ago, that was the first time it was on the track since Adam gave the wall a little hug down at Coronado like 3 years ago.
Yes.
And the fender and the hood on that car, we didn't actually have. It was one of the few cars we didn't have molds for.
Correct.
And so I think Les
had to search the country for actually.
Les, for some of the pieces, I think he took another customer's car, took a fender off. They allowed him to do that. He made another mold or a tool
now we have
of that. So now we can make more fenders from that. But because you need another race car for that, because the flare on the fender and stuff is all in fiberglass. So
see a lot of
kind of an interesting deal. But now that we have that made, we could put that car into the wall as many times as we need to.
Yeah, very hard to match up the lacquer paint on that.
Tons of stuff laying around, right? We've got transmissions on the floor. Here's 3 drive shafts right here.
Yep.
These are looks like
cooler
tubes for the either intercoolers or
engine blocks. You got copper radiators where you don't see very often.
Here's a big intercooler right here for one of the turbo cars. There's spindles in here.
Correct.
That's for I think for the 85.
That is the Paul Newman car.
The Paul Newman car. Spindles for that. Is that a Lamborghini transmission?
That is a Datsun 510.
We have a Lamborghini. There's the Lamborghini.
That's the Lamborghini tranny right there.
Right?
That's for the 510. These two are 510s.
What's great is I know everybody has these parts shelves in their garages. I know I do as well, but I just don't have Lamborghini parts on mine. I don't have a Lamborghini transmission in there.
The price tag on that is pretty big.
Which is kind of cool. I see control arms over there. Cool stuff. Now, Adam's great, and we love him, because he allows us to play with some of our cars here as well.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
This is actually your car, Rob.
This is a 1978 Porsche 911 SC.
Now you just got this.
I just got it. We got it out of Chicago. I got it from a friend of ours, Jay, which is Adam's old assistant. It's been in his family since day one. It's got 40,000 miles, but it's been sitting in a barn for 15 years. So it's got a good and bad. The good thing is it preserved the quality of the car, but the bad thing is I'm the mice made a home in it, and I'm starting with a fuel tank and working my way back. The quality of old cars, like these old Lamborghinis and these old cars, they only made so many of them. And where are you going to get a galvanized aluminum frame at a flat six in 1978? They don't make it anymore like that.
Right.
You know, everything's made out of plastic. So I'm excited about this project. It's good because I'm learning a lot, and it keeps me busy and out of trouble. The good thing about this car is it's never been apart. I mean, if you see all this, this is straight from the factory. They hand brushed this paint on, and I learned a lot about these cars. And none of these bolts have been off. A little bit of rust, but you know, this is the worst part. But it's all there, you know, and it's exciting. I'm very excited. I get a little excited. I want to hear it run, but I want to take the right steps.
Yeah, but you want to be able to drive it around.
Correct. My goal is to take it to Monterey Historics this year and drive it up there.
Really?
So that's my goal. Yeah.
Oh, you better get cracking.
Yeah, I'm gonna work some overtime. You know?
I didn't know there was a goal. I didn't know there was a deadline involved.
To take it up there and pull up to Pebble Beach with it.
It'll be a fun car. All right, well, I'm going to ride up with the rest of the crew in the nice Chrissy Jag, and you can take this up there.
Me and Chris are gonna enjoy this, hopefully.
Call when it doesn't make it, and then we'll swing by with the trailer and come and get you.
I'll make sure I have AAA.
All right, so we've got some more to look at. Let's go take a look at the 610.
The 610, absolutely.
I know you're doing a lot of work now on the 610, but before we get to that, more and more parts behind us, right?
Yes.
We got exhaust parts, we've got cylinder heads, and you got to love this. Everything in here labeled exhaust, tail lights, 79 Datsun, 79 Datsun.
It's a lot of work.
Another 79 Datsun.
It's a lot of work, but Adam loves organization.
Actually, I think this whole section is 79.
This is all 79 300Z.
You got to label the bins.
Yeah, this is still 79 300Z. This is the Paul Newman Camaro. And then some of these are obviously the bigger Paul Newman cars.
I don't think this cam's going to work.
No, but we don't throw anything away.
No, we don't.
Keep it because Adam likes to keep everything.
We haven't driven this. Just at Laguna Seca, Adam raced it there. It ran great. But before that, it was at Coronado.
It was at Coronado, yeah.
And it's been repaired since then. But not only did we replace the fender and the hood and all that stuff, but we actually had the engine redone. We put the FIA head on it. Gave it a little more horsepower. I think we were about 200, and now we're about 224.
Yeah, I was going to say 225, but that's right.
Somewhere around there. In the actual race in the final day on Sunday, Adam lost power like last lap or second to last lap.
Correct.
And we were trying to figure out what was going on there. Now, I know you have it apart. And we're thinking it was a vacuum leak, possibly a vacuum leak.
There's a couple things that were wrong with it. On the back of these Solex carburetors are these rubber gaskets, and I could show you over there. But what happens is that they're dry rotted. They were dry rotted, so it actually was sucking air, too much air in the carburetors. So therefore, it was.
So it was creating a vacuum leak, and it's basically this flips over and goes on this way, and there's a rubber spacer that goes on between here and the cylinder head where he's got it plugged in.
Yep.
And that rubber, connector basically had holes in it. It's creating a vacuum leak.
They're discontinued right now.
And lost the power. That's the thing. Here's a part that we can't really get.
These are discontinued. You cannot find them anywhere, so we're getting them custom made. Right here, they were all cracked. So there was actually sucking air in through this whole side. So that is one of the problems.
And this would basically go on to the cars.
Correct. And they're offset.
And then this would bolt on to the engine. We just flip this over.
Correct. Yep. But there's a lot of weight. You figure you're holding it in.
There's the weak point, right?
Yeah.
There's the weak link. It's kind of a weird. It's supposed to reduce vibration to the carburetor, so when the engine shakes and rattles, then
it's basically like a big engine mount for a carburetor.
Pretty much what it is. And then.
So then that's
little suspension work.
We're actually Adam was complaining about being a little stiff, so we actually took the control arms off, and we're getting them extended, and some custom machine work done to them. We just got these replaced. I just replaced these studs because they were too short, and we're trying to run the original Panasport rims. So I had these pressed out, as you can see back there, and drilled. So those are all done. I'm just waiting on the back right now and get that back together. And we're just kind of going through the car and trying to get it ready.
That's pretty much it. So we're changing the suspension geometry just a little bit by changing the control arms. And the studs, which what you'll find on all of the race cars, the studs need to be a little bit longer than what you're used to. On your street car, you bolt in your wheel and
Correct.
you're fine. On race cars, drag racing,
Yep.
road racing as
Yep.
well, the studs are a little bit longer
Little
because
longer.
if that nut comes loose, it takes longer for that thing
Correct.
to spin
To
itself
unwind.
off.
Yep.
And
some of the rims have the
you go
different
flying,
offsets on them.
All right, looks like, I don't know if you're just collecting rear ends in the middle of the floor here or what. This is the Datsun 510 rear
Correct.
end?
Yep.
This is the Lamborghini rear end.
That's the Lamborghini, one of them, yep.
This is the kind of stuff we've got laying around the shop.
Correct.
So.
Trying to figure out what gearing it is and mark them, and so we have a track on what we have.
Yes, here's the thing. It's like we got to take a Sharpie and we write the rear end gear ratio on the back of every rear end when we swap gears. So many people forget to do that. When you have all these different cars, you have no idea what's in,
And then you're running
what gear
around.
set is in there. And the only way to do it is to take them out, count the teeth, and figure it out. Which
Correct.
is a pain in the
Takes
butt.
a little time.
Let's take a look at your workbench.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit mess, but this is actually all 610 related. These were the old studs that we had. As you can see, they were tack welded on, but we cut them short, or they were cut
that.
short. And these are very hard to find. So our good friend at ARP actually was able to find them for us.
This is the gasket that we took off.
Yes, that does not exist, and I have to make one.
So this was off the 610.
That's off the
that we were
610.
just taking a look at.
Yep,
So
and
this goes in between all of those individual spacers.
Correct. This is what goes onto the
Yeah,
the
and
manifold.
you're right. So we can't find it that matches up to the new
No.
head.
So I have to actually make it physically.
There you go. We got some seats up there.
We
They
got
look like Lamborghinis.
Those are the Lamborghini 400 GT seats, original.
One of the other 400 project cars.
Correct.
And they look like they're in pretty good shape.
Oh, they're in really good shape
Yeah.
to be 30, 40 years old.
A whole collection of windshield wipers taped together. I don't know why, but we do have those. And then we're putting a net on the 610, right?
Correct.
A window
Yep.
net, because when you race, you don't have a window net. You got to use wrist restraints, and the wrist restraints they're not as comfortable. They kind of restrict what you're doing. Adam doesn't seem to like them, so we're going to put a window net in there. All these velocity stacks, these are off. This is what happened to you buy a 12-cylinder Lamborghini, and you don't like the stacks.
You don't like the way they look.
Right? So you get a whole box full of these off the various Lamborghinis, and the air cleaners. So you want the 12 carbs to stick up on the car. These cover them. So on the Lamborghini Miras, on the 400 GTs, the 350, all those 12-cylinder cars, they have these giant air cleaners on them, and they look horrible, right?
Yeah.
So could you imagine this blocking
The beautiful V12.
all those 12 stacks, which looks like crap. But since we don't really drive those cars, we take them off and we stick them here on the shelf. So this is Paul Newman's 1985 300ZX. This is one of the two big project cars that we're working on right now. We have the 84 Newman car, which you guys know that is over at Hotchkiss Suspension. John Hotchkiss and his team are working on that. And the reason why we have this one here apart as well is because those cars are so similar that oftentimes when we're making parts for one car, we make it for both cars. So
Correct.
we're taking pieces on and off to make sure that they're exactly the same. There's going to be some subtle differences between the two, but for the most part, the control arms are going to be the same. The engine plate's going to be the same. There's a few things on the inside that are different. And the 84 car was actually in much worse shape
Yes.
than the 85 car. So the 84 car, all the electronics have to be rebuilt and rewired. This car probably won't have to do
I don't
as
think it'll
much
need
of
that much, but the other car sat outside for 4 to 5 years, and the rust really got a hold of it.
And yeah, the other car, you could see these tube frames that they have on here, and these little pinholes and stuff that are all around it. Those are drain holes because it's all tube frame. And when the other car, when it was sitting outside in Connecticut,
yep.
yeah, not the best place to be sitting
No.
outside. So it turned out that the tube frame all on the inside
It-
and stuff was
A wreck.
was starting to get rusted. So it all needed to be cleaned and basically blasted and dipped and painted and put back together. So it's turning out to be a much bigger project than we really thought.
Yes.
And all the notes. You can't do enough with a Sharpie. Every time you
No.
put these things together, you got to take notes.
They're your best friend.
You start labeling things
Yeah,
on the
even
car.
this, you write on it.
Yeah.
Paul Newman
which,
car.
Which body piece?
Oh, I did forget to write it. I got halfway.
But it's got the code on it. Let's take a look at this car. This is one of my favorite cars. We haven't had a chance to talk about it yet because, Adam's got a bunch of, obviously he's got a bunch of the Datsuns. But this is an awesome car. This is the BMW, this big Batwing BMW.
My favorite car.
Most of them that you see are white with the M stripes. This is probably the only black one that you see. It's a 3.0 CSL. I don't remember what year, probably late 70s. And I know you've been doing some work on it to get it into order. And
we did
stuff on the grill. And
we did a lot of work. We were going to initially plan on racing it not last year, the year before at Monterey, but we had our paint guy messed up the lines, so we ended up we got the wrong air dam first shipped to us, then they wouldn't take it back, so we got the second one, and now the painter didn't match up the blue lines. As you can see, it is right.
It's around somewhere.
Yeah. Let me just grab it.
Yeah. So these are the brake ducts. We just tie them up here. It's tough to see here, but
yeah, you can see with this.
This grill is really expensive. So Rob just went ahead and made new pieces individual instead of getting a new grill. This car here obviously has the individual carbs, and there was no air box for it. And when you suck in all that hot air, that's just Rob's horsepower. We know that. That's why every car today, the aftermarket loves cold air intakes and things like that. So Adam actually at home took a piece of foam
first,
and he made a foam tool, and he carved it down the way he wanted, and then he sent that foam piece out to Bodie at BS Industries, and Bodie made a fiberglass air box based off of Adam's design.
Correct.
So yes, Adam does do a little bit. He gets on the creative side for sure.
He has a very creative mind.
And he put this together, and then we scooped that cold air in through one of the through the headlight ducts there. But this car is badass.
It is beautiful.
I wish we could fire it up. We can't because it's in pieces. But wait till you hear this thing. This thing is sweet. We've said this before. Like most of the guys that drive these race cars, Paul Newman was about 5'9", 5'9 and a half maybe. Adam's 6'2".
Yep.
So all the race cars that we get, Adam doesn't fit in them. So we got to cut the steering wheels down. We basically cut the column down and relocate the steering wheel. The pedals get moved back, and then
the seats.
The safety gear is the only thing that we update. We usually go with Sparco seats, Sparco belts, and we can sometimes move these back. But on most of these Nissan race cars, like the 85 that we showed you over here, there's a bulkhead behind the seat. So it's tough to move the seat back. So the steering wheel and pedals got to move forward. We've got some engines just sitting around. I don't even know what engine, what car they're for.
This is a V8.
But they are 8 cylinders.
Correct. These are V8 for the twin turbo car.
Yes. So anyway, we got some backup engines, and
we don't know what we're going to do with them.
They're supposed to be set up for turbos, but we don't have the turbos. We don't have the manifolds. I don't know what we're going to do. I say we clean them and make coffee tables out of them. You could put one on each end of a big piece of glass and make a giant conference table. That's what we need.
But look at how it's Nissan. made in 1979. I mean, I know it's a little dirty, but the aluminum parts, just the technology of the car, it blows my mind away. It really
these
does.
engines came from a 79
300Z X turbo, I believe.
But pretty cool stuff, because all of these manifolds and stuff like this all had to be fabricated in the day, which is really cool. This is a 2001 BMW M3, and what I love about this car is Adam specifically ordered this long ago, back when he was working on Loveline. I think Dr. Drew was driving an M5, and Adam wanted an M3, but he still had that race blood in him, so he wanted it somewhat lightweight. He specifically ordered it with no sunroof. It has manual seats. He wanted cloth interior, and they only came up with sort of this half cloth, half leather combination. That was the only thing available from BMW. And it might be tough to see on camera, but this is dark blue. This is not black.
Beautiful color.
And
want to pop the hood? Or?
This is something that Adam made.
Custom.
Yeah, he made. Now, everything on this car has been built. Now, of course, there's some tuning issues, and it overheats right now. Oh, and we drove it a couple months ago. We threw a blower belt, which we'll tell you about. But everything on this car is done. This has a fully adjustable suspension. It has big Brembo brakes, front and rear. It has
carbon fiber air dams that you don't see because they're always broken in other cars.
Are they even on there? I think we took them off. Yeah. This is a piece that everybody that puts this on the car are scuffed, but this car rarely gets driven. This engine was pulled This has got lower compression pistons. It's got cams in it. It's got an intercooler attached to a Vortex supercharger.
Aluminum radiator.
I think it's somewhere, what were they, 333 stock. I think this is somewhere in the 550 horsepower range, maybe close to 600. You know, you've seen Adam's, his dark blue 400 GT Lamborghini is 2+2. It's a very old CarCast episode where I think we took a look at that. This is another 400 GT.
This is the number 7 ever built.
And how many total were built?
224, I believe.
Of the 400s?
Yeah, not many.
243, I think.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. These are aluminum body cars. And this was down at a shop that was going to get restored, and we didn't really like what they were going to do with it and their budget and some of the other things. So we took the project from them. And here it is. And believe it or not, when this car is together, it is worth some bucks. But
it's a process.
It's very expensive to build. So I kind of feel like Rob's going to have to build it. You're going to have to build this by yourself,
I might be
Rob.
fully gray by then.
And, you know, here you go.
You have everything.
More race shop stuff. That looks like a tiny distributor, although that's very odd. And let's see what's in here. This looks like a little Datsun block, 6-cylinder.
Yep.
I'm such a muscle car guy, like an American muscle car guy, and I see this and I'm like, oh, it's cute. Look at the little engine.
Yeah. But it's probably pushing some horsepower.
Yeah, would you throw on a couple of turbos and a bunch of other
Exactly.
stuff to make power out of it? But yeah, so basically you just got it sprayed down with oil and covered.
Yep, protect the rust and protect it from corroding.
We'll figure out what it's going to go to. This looks like the exhaust system.
This
to the
is all Lamborghini parts.
Yeah. This is what an exhaust system to the Lamborghini looks like from here back.
Yep.
This will go to basically like a header that goes to 2 pipes, to a resonator, muffler, some sort of ANZA tip. And then the last section of this is wheels. Wheels and tires, which we have lots of wheels and tires.
Correct. Trying to sort these things and it's just a mess.
Here's the problem with these wheels and tires is back in the day they ran magnesium centers, like that gold center there and the center on the BBS, and some of these are magnesium, and over time if they corrode or they crack, you can't use them anymore. So we have a bunch of wheels that are probably going to end up into a lot more coffee tables and things like that, because what else are you going to do with them?
Yep.
By the way, you know, you guys seen the Adam's Aston Martin, which he modified and Chip Foose did some work on. Those tucked up over there, I don't know if Jeff can see it with the camera, but those were the Foose wheels that were put on the Aston Martin originally and painted green to match the car. Chip, I love you, but those things are absolutely horrible, and they should not be on an Aston Martin.
No.
And they are the heaviest wheel I've ever seen. They're just so heavy. It's got to be like 80 pounds per corner, which is pretty crazy. But
those are the stock Aston Martin rims, and we also have an extra set of black rims. So those 3 racks are all Aston Martin.
Yeah. That's why they're on the top shelf, because we never touched them.
Yeah.
You can see the ones that Adam uses. It's all the things here that look like they're the size of a pizza, because they're all running 14-inch rims. They're like personal pan pizza size. That's pretty much it. But lots of very cool stuff. All right, I think that pretty much wraps it up for today. We will save the showroom for another episode, and then we're going to bring in some more cars in here. We're going to bring the Cobra in here.
Yes, we're going to get that motor out of that and get it going.
And I think that's pretty much in here. Rob, thank you so much. I'm going to let you get back to work.
Thank you
I know
for
you got to
having
get
me.
the 610 running.
Yes, I appreciate it, and it's always a good time.
All right, now I'm actually going to run outside, and we're going to take a look at a car that we brought. Here we are with the Maserati Ghibli. This is a new car from Maserati. They have the Quattroporte, which is a little bit larger sedan. This is their mid-size entry. And it's a unique car. It's a very special car. You know, Maserati's been around for a long time, but it's still a small manufacturer. They only make a few thousand cars a year. And as a result of that, you get this exclusivity. I think it's got a gorgeous, unique design to it. Along with that, there's a little bit of trade-off here and there that you'll see. some good, some bad. This is Maserati's part of the Fiat Corporation, which also owns Chrysler and stuff. So what you'll find is when you get into the inside, you find some of the plastic switches out of your Chrysler, you know, 300C, the navigation touchscreens, all out of that Chrysler brand. But the trade-off is Maserati has designed an engine in-house, but they don't have engine manufacturing capabilities. So they outsource everything to Ferrari. And Ferrari has built them a 3-liter twin-turbo V6 engine. This particular model is the Q4. There's two models. There's the base model and the Q4. And the base model is rear-wheel drive, and it's about 345 horsepower, and it is also a V6. When you step up to the Q4, you get all-wheel drive, but not just that, because this actually put 100% of the power to the rear, but they swapped the cams and they up the boost a little bit, modify the tuning, and he goes from 345 to about 404 horsepower, I believe, a little over 400. The base model puts you at 0 to 60 around 5.5 seconds. This puts you at about 4.5, maybe 4.6. You get the big brake upgrade, which is awesome because this thing will stop from 60 to 0 in about 105 feet. And it's got some of that Italian sportiness to it that you expect from Maserati. This is a near 50-50 weight ratio front to rear. You can really feel the balance on it, which is great. One of the things that I noticed with this engine was a little bit of a turbo lag, which the only way to sort of accommodate for that is if you put it in sport mode, it actually kicks the RPMs up a little bit, and you can get a little bit more into that sweet spot, and it sounds phenomenal. I mean, it's, you know, even though it has turbos and that makes it quieter, it does sound absolutely wonderful when you really get onto it. It's great power. It's fairly fuel efficient for what it is. They got that thing set back pretty far, and it's fairly lightweight. I mean, the car is a luxury sedan, so it probably weighs around 4,700 pounds. But that 50-50 weight ratio is where you really kind of notice its performance capability with this car. So let's fire it up and see what we can do. Hopefully it's warm enough to get some RPMs out of it. The turbos sound good. It's got a great exhaust note to it. It doesn't fire up real fast. Again, it's that a little bit of turbo lag onto it, but the car sounds great, and it's wonderful to drive. I like the car a lot, and like I said, in a world where, especially in LA, where every fifth car is a Mercedes or a BMW, you want something a little more unique. This could be what you're looking for. The base model, I think, starts around 69,000. The Q4 starts around 79. This one has quite a few options on it, and it's right about 100,000 bucks. But not bad at all. So check this out. We'll throw up a bunch of photos and stuff on our Facebook page at Facebook/CarCast Show. And our website, CarCast Show. So until next time, I'm Motorator Matt D'Andrea. Keep the air in the spare and the bag in the wheel.